And you are the Avatar.
Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. He ran!
Which is why we have to kill them all.
Yes.
Yes!
There is only one way to resolve this. Agni Kai.
Compassion? Compassion is a sign of weakness.
If you ask anyone here, they'll tell you he may be a prince, but he's not our prince.
It was quiet, and then my mom died.
Look at the power you have. That's because of me.
That wasn't you. That was me.
It would have been wise to have focused on your training during your journey.
Nice job, Avatar.
Who do you think was my ally through all this?
I have a feeling you've been hurt more than enough.
Tonight, we will celebrate! We will praise the glory of the Fire Nation!
Hello and welcome to the From the Spirit World podcast, a legendary Avatar: The Last Airbender and the Legend of Korra podcast for overlyanimated.com. We are podcasting episode by episode on the new Netflix live-action Avatar series with some of the biggest Avatar fans you know, the From the Spirit World crew. I am your host, Dylan, and today I'm joined by Delaney.
Hey, y'all.
Jeff.
Hello.
Sam.
Yo.
Allie.
Hi.
Ben.
Hey, everyone.
And Brit. Yes, almost everyone is here to talk about the season finale of season 1 of Netflix's Avatar: Last Airbender Legends, episode 8. If you've missed any of our Netflix Avatar podcast, search for From the Spirit World or Overly Animated anywhere to subscribe to either feed or our dedicated Netflix Avatar feed to get all of these podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review if you have been enjoying these throughout the season. There will be spoilers for all of season 1, finally we can say, of Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender, in addition to full spoilers for the entire original Avatar and also Korra in this podcast. You can still reach out to us to give us feedback on how this went at podcast@overlyanimated.com. Send us feedback on the season as a whole for maybe a future season wrap-up podcast. Also, I'll talk about this more at the end maybe, but let us know if you would like to continue hearing us talk about Avatar and Korra, maybe a potential big rewatch series. If that's something that is of interest to you, us going through the entirety of Avatar and Korra, I would need to hear from you. I want to know if guys or people are interested in that. Please, well, that's good to hear, but we want to make sure we would have a bunch of listeners, so let us know, subscribe, and that would leave a comment. That'll let me know that there's interest for more of these moving forward about, better shows than this one. But not to say that I'm passing judgment on the finale, just in general. I think we'd all probably agree original Avatar was better. But let's start to get into Legends, the season finale. Again, we're in spoilers for the entire season. Delaney, why don't you start us off? What did you think of the finale?
I enjoyed it. I liked it better than the previous episode, which it's not really the previous episode's fault. All the fun stuff happens in this episode. I thought it looked really good. Watching it with my wife was really funny. So she hasn't seen as much of book 1. So she was like, what's happening? And anytime something happens, she would look at me and be like, did that happen in the original show? When we have
I bet that's a common experience.
It is. She was like, is he really a kaiju right now? And then she was like, did that happen?
Yes,
I was
that
like, yeah.
happens.
Did Jet just die?
Not yet.
It was really unclear.
Yeah.
No, that was she also was like, Zhao's dead, right? She hates him. She's like, I hope he's really dead.
Not clear yet in this show.
I know, and she was like, he's dead, right? And I was like, oh. But no, I really liked it. I do, I have gripes, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I do think this season, we'll talk about more when we maybe do our season wrap up. But for me, it just feels like the end of the beginning of the series seemed much stronger than the end, and it just kind of fizzled out for me.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's go to Sam. What did you think of the finale?
I actually liked it. Despite all of the problems it had, because I feel like it had a lot, I liked a lot of it. I really liked Zhao and Zuko's fight. I loved all of Zhao's stuff, of course. Number one Zhao fan now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
You have
not
to act
really.
crazy.
I just thought that he was perhaps the most entertaining part of the show, so maybe that's why I liked him that much. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the kaiju. I liked all the colors happening when the moon went away and when the moon got killed. I thought that was
distracting to me.
It was distracting.
Like, I liked it, like, when they did it at first, but then they kept doing it, like, it would just be black and white for a little bit, and I was like, you gotta stop. I'm gonna, like, I couldn't
We'll
handle
talk
it.
more about it.
I thought it was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of the movie Pleasantville. But anyway, yeah, I liked this episode, even though it was not very good IMO. There were a lot of issues that I think could have been addressed at some point earlier or could have been addressed better. We'll get into it specifically, like, Aang, if you go into the koi pond with the ocean spirit, you're gonna lose yourself. Like, where does that come from? Who knows? But anyway, yeah. Overall, I'd give this episode a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's where the series tops out. So that's a high, I think, in my book, a high rating. Why don't we go to Jeff? What did you think of the finale?
I'm of the same mind as Sam. I enjoyed it. I thought the colors, when it's black and white except for when the fire happens, is good. I thought when they portrayed the invasions much more visceral. Mm-hmm. Although I thought they could have burned a few more people.
Damn.
But like when the big tower comes down, that's like, ooh, okay, they're going there. My all-time favorite moment of the episode, though, I think, was Sokka's moment with Yue's father at the end. It was nice. Yeah. So, enjoyed it.
Nice. Okay, we will.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, more people burn at the very least.
Apparently.
I mean, to be fair,
More
we start
violence.
off with someone getting burnt to a crisp, and I didn't see any
That's how the show
close-ups of that in this episode. But maybe we do see people dead, I guess.
And to be clear, I don't want to see a lot of gore or anything. It's just like they did the thing where it's like people get tossed over with explosions, but no one actually gets hurt on screen.
Yeah, we just kind of see it after. That is true. Allie, what did you think of the finale?
So I'm surprised. I'm in the minority here. I thought it was one of the weaker episodes, maybe the weakest next to episode 1. I think most of the changes they made were either silly and or just didn't work as effectively as the original did. Overall, I was not a fan of this one. I liked the Katang moment at the end. I consider that a Katang moment. That was like the saving grace for me. I have not that many good things to say about this one. So those are my thoughts. I thought it was I think I forgot if this was Delaney or Sam. You said it got stronger in the middle and then it fizzled out at the end. I think the last 3 episodes are some of the weakest.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's what Delaney said. Okay, interesting. Let's hear from Ben, who we haven't heard from in a little bit. So, Ben, what do you think of the finale, and have you been liking this kind of second half of the show?
I'll kind of start with talking about the second half really quick. 5 and 6 are probably my least favorite episodes of the season. And maybe this would be better for a season recap, but in a funny way, I almost see this whole season as 2-parter episodes.
Yeah.
If you really think about it. So I think that was just a kind of a weird way for them to do this season.
Yeah.
It worked in a way with these last 2, and I think it actually worked pretty well with 3 and 4. Not so much with 5 and 6. But I liked the finale pretty well. Saw things that I wanted to see, especially what I think is kind of like the first real seed of, the romance between Aang and Katara. It's not a big seed, but I think the seed has been planted. So, we'll get more into it as we talk about the episode, but I thought it was a solid finale. And, you know, for all its flaws, I'm happy that the show is going to get to tell its story. So
Nice.
hopefully now that they know, hey, we're going to get to tell the whole story, that
They'll
some
make
of
better
the short...
decisions.
Yeah, well, I'm also hoping, and again, this is for future discussion, but if they're going to film like back-to-back or close to back-to-back, that may allow for additional episodes just because of cost savings. So...
Yes, that would be interesting. But as we discussed last podcast, this show was renewed for seasons 2 and 3. So we will get more into that, and I'm sure it'll come up along the way, speculating about how that's going to play out after this finale. Brit, our first time hearing from you on this series. So what have you been feeling about this show and also about the finale?
Well, I almost raged quite at the end of episode 1, but I did power through.
It's pretty early.
And I was like, I hate it. This is terrible, but it's okay. I calmed down. I liked the changes they made the most. And I do think they should have maybe made more. It sounds wild, but I think they should have aggressively changed more things. And I think when they enter things about the spirit world is kind of when the lore of the show, or like the background, the pacing of the show started to fall apart. My sister, who has not watched Avatar, started to watch this show, and she was a little confused.
See, I knew it.
Yeah. She was like, so why are they in the spirit world? And I was like, moving on. We get to this episode. So far, Zhao and Iroh, I think, have been the best acted and the best written characters. So I did enjoy seeing them, and I enjoyed seeing their interactions. I always enjoy Zhao, and I think the actor who plays Zhao is having a very good time. I think the actor who plays Zuko is well cast and well acted. So seeing him sort of go through the motions, I do wish some of the writing for him of his scenes was a little bit better. I liked the scenes with Iroh and Zuko. Those are some high points for me. The show is well shot, and I think most of the scenes look quite beautiful. I think some of the writing is a little clunky, and they shy away from some of the poetic nature of the original show, which I think is a missed opportunity. I thought Zuko and Katara's fight was less epic. They just made Katara less epic in general. I thought Aang did well. I thought that he had the most consistent arc over all the shows. I mean, those are kind of my thoughts. We'll get into it.
Okay.
But
yes.
Mixed bag. It wasn't all bad, and I didn't hate it.
Look,
but
that's good after you almost quit after episode 1. That's a good ultimate place to end up, I feel like.
I threw down the remote and paced back and forth in my little room, was yelling at my brother. It was great.
That's good.
The normal reaction to have watching this, honestly.
Look, look, we've been having our own reactions here, detailing it exhaustively.
I haven't listened to the shows because I was going to be on this one, and I didn't want to taint my opinion. What if you all loved it?
Maybe,
became different people.
That's true.
I mean, you've already heard most people, so clearly I feel not loved, but some people have been liking it recently. Finale, I agree it's a mixed bag here. I think it was better than I was expecting, though. I was very afraid, like I said before, of them approaching the Northern Water Tribe stuff, and between last episode and this episode, I was overall happy. At least visually, because I thought this episode is spectacular visually, personally. Of note, the colors that have been mentioned, it is what the animated show does. They do the exact same thing with the colors as the animated show. I thought it looked way better here, actually, which it's 20 years later and they have a ton more budget and there's HD now, so it should look better. But this was, for me, was the first thing that I was like, wow, this is way better done even than the animated show. It was just gorgeous once the moon is taken out, essentially. And even the red tint was fine, but then everything with the black and white after. I think people's mileage may vary on it for sure, because it's such a stark effect. But that's, for me, is the big highlight. Koizilla, fine. I don't have a strong opinion on how Koizilla looked. I guess they didn't butcher him. They didn't butcher him, so I think that's kind of the main thing. But just the colors visually.
He didn't look
was
as
the
bad
big
as he could have looked.
That's really how I feel, because I feel like it's something they could screw up so bad. But I think he was fine. They made a bunch of small story changes in this episode specifically, and they were all not good, and I don't really understand them, so we'll talk about it. Maybe with the exception of being Katara kind of leading the women into battle. I don't remember if that happens, but
no, there are no women in battle in the original.
So I think that's maybe a good change, even if we discussed the last podcast. There's not a lot new here, but and man, we kept going for it with Zhao, and it paid off in the dumbest, best way possible.
What does that mean?
Zhao, the Moon Slayer.
Well, look, that stuff, obviously the same. It's great. But then when he gets into his speech, I put it in the quote lodge when he's like, who do you think has been my ally this whole time? Oh, my God. It's so bad. I loved it so much. It's so bad, though. Like, oh, it's so good.
It's twirly mustache
like
villain.
You're like, yes.
Yeah, and it's like the performance is great. I think the material, I think it's purposefully campy, but still kind of also there's bad writing that they put the campiness on top of. So it's kind of hard to evaluate. But anyway, I do think he was a highlight. And there was Katang here. I thought it was actually very good how they incorporated Katang. The last two episodes, after completely butchering Katang this entire season, completely removing it, especially the Cave of Two Lovers, still mad about it, but they did deliver the past two episodes, I think. I
don't think they delivered that hard. It's
not, given where we were at, I think this is like a great setup to actually do it
went
next
from
season.
0 to 2. I will accept.
It was like 0 to 0.5 for me.
No, I think it's a 2. I think we have some good Katara says, "You're my family." And she says, "I need you."
I was like, say a thing. And she goes, "I need you." And I was like, that's right.
Yes. Is that what she says also in the animated episode? I don't remember. I don't think so. No. Yeah.
In 107, she says that.
Okay. We didn't do the hug, though, that I've been hoping for, but it's okay.
That's why I thought you would be more disappointed, honestly.
I know, but the dialogue delivered, I think, but we didn't get the same hug. It's fine.
The seed has been planted.
Or forgiving
that's the important thing.
I think so. And as it'll be a few years later, I think we can do it. So I don't know. There's some key things that I love about, and this is, by the way, Siege of the North Part 2. I think the best episode of Avatar. If you've been listening to this podcast for many years, come on, I've been giving this opinion for a while, but
ever? I don't remember.
Ever top number one episode. I think it's incredible. I will say I went back and watched some parts of Siege of the North Part 2 from the anime to compare. It is so fast when you slow it compared to this episode when you slow it down. So I think that there's a lot of validity of this show just taking this like very quick 22-minute episode and really taking their time with some of this stuff. Like everything when the moon is gone, it's like less than 5 minutes in the animated show. And here we can really spread it out. And so I'm kind of surprisingly was happy to see the live action version of this episode. Not that it was because it was live action, but because they went there visually. Like they really tried to have these pretty far out visual effects, and then also because they like get to slow down the story and kind of dig into stuff more. So I don't know. I'm like pretty happy relative to some points earlier in the season. Unlike some people, I'm like higher on the end of the season compared to the middle for me personally.
This means in book 2, Aang's going to be dying for like 30 minutes.
It's true. They can lengthen.
Are you saying they're going to do like a Bollywood shot of him getting shot by lightning, like different angles?
Yes,
they probably will. They probably will. Also, man, he's gonna be pissed for
fly over him for like a solid 10 minutes.
Yeah. But okay, I'm tempted to go straight to the stuff they changed, but we can try to talk about the battle and Koizilla and how the moon in the ocean, and I think this is all kind of the same topic to me. And Zhao killing the moon spirit, which is done in a different way, but still kind of the same thing.
I do want to say I do think the original is better than this episode.
Okay.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Big hot take here. Obviously, I also think the original is better. I just think there's validity in what they are doing and slowing down. And visually, I think they improved the color stuff they're doing, but still, obviously, you know.
I will say, compared to like how I felt about previous episodes, to me, this was the starkest. I would just prefer the original episode, The Siege of the North Part 2.
I mean, I think it's a fair reaction because I think it's the best episode of the season. So it's like, okay, if they're just doing the same as the episode, then it's not going to be as good. Sure, I agree.
But the differences they made were not good.
We did keep a lot of very prominent things.
agree.
We have Iroh's tenfold line
But did they
exactly.
But did they do them as well? Because you can do the same thing.
Yeah,
And
well,
they
let's
didn't do them as well.
let's go through them. Well, Britt, how did you feel about everything with the battle visually? The spirits, Koizilla.
I thought Koizilla was not as impressive because they made him very dark, which might have been easier for them to animate, but you can't see Aang controlling Koizilla in the middle and show that he has become one with the spirit of the ocean and is a super powerful god being who is enacting his wrath upon the Fire Nation. I did like that they made more Fire Nation ships. I did like how impressive the Fire Nation ships are. Like 99% of the time, I think the CGI in the show looks very good. I thought that like Ko and like Heibai in the previous episodes looked great. Spirit World stuff is it's well animated. I thought the waterbending looks very beautiful. Aang doesn't waterbend. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, okay, we'll get into it. You'll get into it. I think it's a good point about like Aang was less visible in Koizilla. I think that's an interesting point for sure.
And it doesn't look like water.
Yeah, I know, Dylan, you were saying the visuals look spectacular, but I gotta disagree.
Do you mean just about Koizilla? But by the way, for reference,
it looks better than the animated version.
Koizilla is the monster that Aang becomes in this episode. To be clear, because they don't use that name, and the show doesn't use that name.
Right, whatever.
Yes.
I think specifically the use of color is what impressed me. I'm going to say that. And also, there's the use of color. It's the same thing. So it goes to black and white when the moon goes out, and then you only see color come up through fire, and then also. Once we get Koizilla, we get a lot of blue infused. And again, it is the same. That's the same concept as the animated show. We just get to see a lot more of it here.
I liked Water Kaiju, and I'm actually going to disagree with Britt. You don't see him like controlling it, but for most of it, you can see him in it, and I thought that was very striking.
At least some shots they specifically pan to him.
Yeah, they make a big deal out of it, and I thought it paid off in those shots. Like it was really...
shots, yeah, I think so. But Brit, you have your hand up.
I was gonna say I didn't think it looked like water. It was visually impressive, and then we moved on, so I can put my hand down now.
Okay, thank you. There's a lot of people here, so we'll be utilizing.
No, so I put my hand up, and then I was like, we've moved past.
Sorry, I had the outline, so I couldn't see your hand.
I know it's a lot going. There's a lot going on here. One other thing I want to point out visually. Obviously, there's everything with the battle. The sequences of the fireballs coming in, and then they waterbend the ice up to counteract. I thought those.
The bending was done well.
All that, and this was, I think, the most prominent bending of the show. I thought it looked pretty spectacular. I want to go to Jeff. Do you have any thoughts on how everything visually was handled, how the battle was handled?
Yeah, I agree that it was striking is a good word for when. This kaiju thing, and the blue is just coming through his like veins and ripples. I thought it was good. Having it be portrayed as a corporeal monster thing, but also made of water. You know, they had to like thread that line. So I liked how they did that. The moment the sun went or the moon went dark. And they show, okay, waterbenders can't bend anymore, and the walls are starting to fall down, and the ships are coming in, and they breach the walls, and they show an actual ship coming through, like, and then you see people fall to their deaths because they can't waterbend anymore. That was exciting. See.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. There's that one shot when they get like first person on this random person, and as the wall's falling, and you see him plummet, and there's fire or something. I don't know. They're really going there visually. I feel like. Sam, how do you feel like the battle overall was handled? Anything you want to call attention to?
Not particularly.
What Koizilla? Impressed? Not impressed?
He looked like a lizard to me, which is
okay. He is, right?
I mean, it's a koi.
A fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess all kaijus maybe are lizards.
Godzilla's a lizard, so Koizilla.
I guess.
There's Ben. Godzilla is a lizard.
Yeah. Ben, what are your thoughts on the battle, Koizilla, colors, everything?
I thought it all looked good, and you know, for the series as a whole, like, I don't think the CGI has been perfect, but at the same time, this is a show about people who can, you know, manipulate the elements. I kind of am willing to allow some suspension of disbelief if it doesn't look 100% perfect. So, I liked how they handled Koizilla. I thought the battle was, you know, done well, and I really liked when the moon is taken away. I do like that contrast of like going from black and white to just that little bit of color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was actually done very well here.
Yeah, I think just the whatever reason the live action, the black and white, it looks more striking than it did in the, and obviously it was also 20 years ago, and it was like the different smaller ratio aspect.
They
ratio and
didn't
stuff.
do any contrast. Well, they did, but it's all in the contrast with black and white.
Yes, I think maybe it's because the first time I had seen that in like a animated format like that, when they did such strong things with color that made it very impressive. But I've seen other shows do things like that with color now. But at the time, it was like very striking to see them go from the very blue to the black and white to the red to the black and white.
Yeah,
and I think they could have pushed it further in the live action.
I feel like we were stretching, compared to the other episodes, it felt like we were stretching the budget visually. I mean, there's such a huge budget anyway. And yeah, just in general, I want to point, since we're here.
$20 million. They got to spend it somehow.
Yeah, supposedly at least $15 million per episode. A lot going on.
Jesus.
Although
really?
I think I saw that the budget for the series was lower than that of the movie that shouldn't exist.
That's probably it'll be interesting. Hard to compare. Just want to overall point out visually, I think we would not be talking about this show as at all decent like we are if they didn't, for the most part, nail everything with the CGI visually.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's true.
Like this is, I think the CGI animators really putting this show on their back.
Yeah. They're carrying it for sure.
I never knew live action bending, quote live action in quotes bending, could look this good as it like. I know we've said it, but it's
also they treat it like the natural, like as a natural movement versus what Ben was talking about, where they do 25 movements.
Yes, yeah. Of course.
Like not how that works.
Yes, Ben.
Speaking of the movie that shouldn't exist, I forgot to bring this up in my thoughts on previous episodes. I'm not going to pretend that the hair on Yue looks good, but let's also be fair. It wasn't exactly the hair on Yue in the movie that shouldn't exist, and you know what shot I'm talking about.
I like that.
Is the shot a meme? I'm not aware. So is the point of the shot that the hair looks phallic? Is that the?
She could use a sensor bar as a hairband.
It looks better.
It's pretty funny. At least for
I prefer the phallic nature
there's
than whatever we got
jokes I
here.
could make of this picture. I mean,
yeah, and someone mentioned Commoner is this podcast. I won't talk about it. Okay, I don't anything on Zhao killing the moon with the dagger from Kuruk instead of.
I twisted that.
He did twist it. The Kuruk knife, I think, is stupid.
Yeah, dude, that was so dumb.
I sense my knife is near. Shut up.
That was I get trying to
Unnecessary.
add in the other avatars who made mistakes. Cool, but the
That's
knife,
the thing.
dude, bro.
They're trying to make
But
him
this actual
extremely
stabbing the fish.
sympathetic, but
Stabbing
it
the fish.
don't
He
think it
just
works.
firebends the fish in the animated show.
Yeah.
He does. He burns the fish. He makes some sashimi.
Yeah.
Wait, that's
It's
sushi.
fine.
That would be raw, though.
Metaphor.
Let's talk about all these minor changes here. Speaking of this, I think we're going to have a hard time resisting. So first of all, the war balloon comes in here as opposed to later. They'd use the war balloon to get to the inner sanctum, whereas in the animated show, he just comes in off the ship.
I didn't mind that.
Me neither.
That's
It was
fine.
fine.
No.
That's fine.
It works out because the focus we had on it and previously.
Yeah, that's fine.
How about this one? This is the ice moon. In the ice moon, the spirits manifest once a year.
Stupid.
Well, no,
As
he
opposed-
was like, not just any moon, and I was like, it's the Death Star.
As opposed to in the animated show, they just gave up their immortality to take on physical form. But here, it's only once a year.
I didn't like that.
Stupid.
Ooh.
Unnecessary.
I'm trying to remember. I figured out why they did it at some point. I think it's because of UA. They're comparing that. They're metaphorically comparing them to UA later on. So I guess that's the purpose of it.
But I agree. Boo.
I was indifferent to the change.
That
That change was fine.
Okay, here's the next one. Zhao has to go in and find the spirits. He doesn't know they're fish.
Then what was the point of that scroll that he had?
Not
what
a lot
information
of
did it give?
They had to get Iroh there because Iroh could identify them, apparently.
He even was like, I don't know what they look like, bro. What are you talking about?
Well,
like, what if it was a giant bear? Like, what was Zhao gonna do? Like, what if it was like a naga?
What if it was a leaf? Didn't Iroh say he's like, it could be a blade of grass?
Yeah.
He didn't even know.
He didn't know.
Well, if it was like naga or a bear, we'd be having a roasted feast.
Oh man. Well, I guess it's
No, and that bear would have a bear that's
it would have mauled
spirit,
Zhao.
like, the thing would
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Zhao would go down.
I think
In
we
a
need to
different
talk about how they like name dropped lion turtles.
Yes, they
Oh
do
yeah,
do that.
people are happy about that. I don't know how to feel.
It's mostly just a throwaway. I do think this show has the opportunity to seed lion turtles into the show more, so it's not so random at the ends. So I think that they should be doing more with them. But I don't think this suffices. It's just kind of them mentioning it. No. Okay, here's a big one. Zhao can wipe out the waterbenders from killing the ocean spirit.
Why?
I believe this is not a thing, correct, in the animated show? Like, so if he were to kill the ocean spirit instead of the moon spirit, they would all just die instantly?
The
I
waterbenders?
always
Yeah, that
figured
doesn't
that,
make
like,
any
it
sense.
kills the ocean spirit, it'll,
How
like,
does that even?
miss all your food, and eventually kill everyone, but not, like, immediate death.
That's true. It would maybe eventually cause death indirectly. They're talking about it like they drop dead.
I took that as, like, the ocean drying up, so wouldn't that affect everybody?
You would think so, but they specifically call out waterbenders. They're
that
like,
was stupid.
There are no tides.
Is it water tribe members all die, or is it just benders who would die from this?
Yeah, that wasn't clear.
Or is it just a metaphor?
I would be open to this, but they seem to be treating it literally in that episode.
I don't think Zhao does metaphors.
No.
It's a metaphor that he by killing the moon spirit, you would wipe out waterbending theoretically.
I like that better, but again, it feels like they're saying they would literally just die. I don't know. Maybe I misread it, but I don't know.
No, I don't think you misread it.
That's how I read it. Is they would have a literal death.
The intention.
The purpose of this was to make Zhao even more threatening to everyone. I don't know. This one also is not a ton of reason, but here's a big one actually that affects the story. Aang, when he is becoming Koizo, merging with the ocean spirit, there's now no avatar anymore. He is completely gone.
Stupid.
Until the moon comes back, and then actually, no, it's fine, bro. He's
Stupid.
back.
So it's like when he dies in the original show, is there a new avatar for 5 minutes?
Yeah, did a new avatar get born? No, I think they were saying the concept of the avatar is gone. He gave up the entire concept, like, by becoming.
The only way that scene worked was because it planted a Katang seed, and it was still strange, and it was a stupid change.
And also, it didn't really play that much as a Katang scene for me, at
No,
least from
it didn't.
Aang, because it's just the moon's back, bye, see you later. He was gonna get out of there anyway. Katara talking just what the
it
Katara
just showed her
talking
feelings. It was
yeah,
really
exactly.
Aang's side.
Kill
Which is
Momo.
fine.
Okay, no, we're coming back to Momo. We're going to come back to that.
Feelings.
What?
Oh God, Momo! I completely blocked that part out.
Okay, we can go to that. But yeah, I guess this the giving up the avatar thing is for Aang's character. Is the reason we do that? I don't know.
Hate that, but I did hate that they said it every 30 seconds.
Aang is like doing the hero's sacrifice, the end of Harry Potter, the end of everything, right? Like he's trying to sacrifice himself.
The hero's journey.
The hero's
Get
journey.
Mel in here.
Yeah. Mel just heard it us. She's
I
like,
think so.
They're talking about it.
Aang's
It is
character
for
is just
Roman Empire.
so weak in this.
Yeah, and Katara's, both of their characters are
Yeah.
pretty non-existent in this version.
So
this is a move of them trying to do something with Aang, I feel like.
But at the very end, in the
Doesn't
last
work.
5 seconds, that's not even really related. Like, I mean, it.
It does
Yes,
work
but
in what
listen.
they've done with Aang when they're building that you have to do this alone, you have to bear the burden alone, and then so Aang makes that choice.
Sure.
Yeah,
But it just comes out of left field. Though.
I agree with you.
Like
Yeah.
Yue is just like, no, Aang, if you do this, this will happen. Like, okay.
Did
Where
Aang
did
know
that
that
come from?
though? That's the thing.
They didn't set it up at all.
No.
But yeah,
No,
it's
they didn't.
this is their payoff, like Delaney said, to all the avatars saying he needs to do it on his own, and the same theme as last episode, contrasting. He's learning to truly do it with his friends, Team Avatar. So I guess it's nice in that regard, but it was not, I guess, set up particularly well or done particularly well. I feel like.
But he was already doing things with his friends in the beginning.
Yeah, he just reverts in the moment of truth.
God,
goes
he's
back
so
to this.
wishy-washy.
Yeah, he was the ocean, very wishy-washy.
Oh my god.
Apple beat it out of him.
You tell this 12-year-old that he needs to make more hardline decisions and stick to his guns.
Get in the water, spirit, Aang.
Let's talk briefly about the Momo. I think probably you could argue this is the dumbest scene of the entire series.
Now, I literally had to pause the television and like do a walk about the room like I was the Victorian woman looking for a fainting couch. Like I simply could not.
Let me briefly bring in feedback. Marilyn Lars says that Momo scene in the last episode was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I had to pause the episode because I couldn't stop cackling. The flying gremlin that had an accumulative 13 seconds of screen time getting a big hero moment was a wild decision.
It was so funny.
Okay, I won't lie.
I
was just upset. I was like, they are not about to kill Momo. Like, I was like crying. Like,
Don't worry, there's healing water right there.
Crying.
Now, the healing water part was stupid, but I was like, do not kill Momo.
That's how we have to establish the healing water. It saves Momo, y'all.
And we have to establish that Sokka finally likes Momo after calling him a chicken wing this whole time.
They had a whole arc that we didn't see on screen.
I will say the hug was precious.
The hug was fresh.
I want to see the behind the scenes shot of his actor hugging like a potato sack or whatever it was.
They have a little stuffed Momo plushie. If you go to Ian's Instagram, he just posted about it.
That'd be good. Okay.
Is this not the same water that
cute.
saved Aang in season 2?
It is.
Yes. And Katara gets that water at the end.
She does.
Right. So is it really that far-fetched that it would heal Momo?
No, I think that makes sense.
It's
It's
not
just
the healing him part. It's the fact that it has to happen at all.
we get this random scene of Momo saving a child.
Yeah, the fact that it's
unrelated to
Momo.
everything.
No, what I'm just upset that we see Momo's like broken body.
It's very violent.
This is messed up.
Why doesn't Appa get to save children?
That's true. You're bringing up my
Where
animal
was
trauma
Appa
now.
this entire time?
Appa was
Just in
eating the seaweed in the stables.
What
Yeah,
the
come
fuck
on,
was
Appa.
that?
No,
He
the
could have
beginning
wiped out that
the beginning of this
beginning.
episode, he's helping with Sokka's plan to take out the ship, so he is there briefly.
He's the tactical mastermind.
I really liked that, and then also when Sokka like gets launched out the window, hilarious. That also is where I had the biggest issue with the CGI slow-mo that Allie's been talking about this whole time, was with Aang and Katara. There was like a really bad, it was like the most egregious.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
No,
I don't remember.
In the very beginning. Like when they're fighting on the
initial
ship.
scene. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, not good.
Whatever. Let's talk about the very end, because there's some more changes here. Our ending credit scenes. So it turns out that actually this whole Northern Water Tribe attack was just a distraction because Ozai
They love
is so
distractions
brilliant.
that aren't distractions.
That doesn't make sense for a distraction because, like,
yeah.
Jeff, go ahead.
No. All right, no, Sam, you go ahead.
No, you can go.
Okay. That strategy requires that the defending party has a shared military infrastructure, and they'll redirect their forces from one location to another to react to you. Well, anyone who was defending the north is not going to have gotten there by leaving Omashu. So why did you just throw away all of your navy at that one thing? It made the job no easier at Omashu.
The only thing is that remotely makes sense is it distracted the Avatar in the north.
Or this is exactly what they did with the air nomads, except like that wasn't a distraction then either.
And Aang can only airbend. You don't need to distract him. It's not that big of a deal. I guess here, like, because of the ocean, whatever. But it's really not that much Aang. Anyway, just the notion that we need to make this like some. And they, by the way, the other aspect, they waste their entire like 1,000 ships on this. Like, it's not a good distraction if you throw away all this military resources. Yeah, like, come on, Oza. I don't think it's as good as you're saying. Why does this need to be some like, ooh, coming soon in season 2? Like, there wasn't actually a win. There's gonna be things even more bad coming up. It's also just annoying that we need to do that.
Like, I don't understand how Omashu is more like valuable, quote unquote, to the Fire Nation than the Northern Water Tribe.
Me neither. Like, water is the opposite. If they could control them, they're definitely their biggest opponent. Like, why would you not distract the Earth Kingdom and go for the Water Tribe instead?
But it's also
if they wanted to do that, they could have like explained why Omashu is like such a strategic stronghold versus the Northern Water Tribe not being, but they did not do that.
Well, the problem is they have this, like, they're trying to do this whole political blah 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 Game of Thrones. Well, you can't do that when the politics of the Fire Nation is, I just want to burn everyone to the ground.
It's true. We're trying to add scheminess in.
You need like a scene where they're trying to war plan and be like, "Oh, we can't go there because they'll force project from Amashu, and their supply line is so strong, and da 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 da, and we have to take them out." Like, they don't have any of that, so it's like, why do we care about that backwards mountain city?
That backwards mountain city, Ben.
So the only thing I can figure is kind of like in the original show, they attack the North, it doesn't work, they don't attack again, so they refocus their efforts on taking the Earth Kingdom because it is the biggest nation in terms of landmass and resources. So,
and I guess because of the colonies, which we haven't gotten into, they kind of get into.
That's true. We didn't really get into that. Yeah. Anyway, it's even if it might make sense, the show just hasn't set up enough of like the world situation, politics, etc., for this to be a real payoff. Even if it was like a very good payoff, like it's just they just put no effort into this and just want to throw it in at the end. The other aspect is that after saying last episode she wants to go out in the world, we see that Azula led the invasion in Omashu.
Wow.
She's there was much rejoicing.
Dylan, and you were saying you want her to be in the North, so I'm curious what you think of this.
Look, we did something. We took her out of the Fire Nation, okay?
At least, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they put no effort into this. She just shows up at the end. It's unrelated to everything that's happening.
Like, they really could have just put her here at the end, period, and not have had her in the whole season.
I think it would have been better to have them marching on Omashu versus, like...
sneak attack, yeah.
It seems to me that they want to, because I've been talking about how they've been doing early season 2 episodes throughout the season. It seems like they want to just skip to middle of season 2, and so like Omashu needs to be taken over by the Fire Nation. That's another step. We can really just introduce Toph first episode next season, and then like head straight to the library or whatever before that. Like they another step to them wanting to cover all this ground. But this is not a satisfying payoff to Azula's big arc to me.
Will we even go to the library? Because the reason why they go to the library is in this episode. Or at least the prop of it is.
A hint of it, because that's where Zhao got the scroll for
and they
ocean
don't,
and moon
they
spirits.
Don't know. It's just Ozai who knows.
I'm talking about that planetarium, man.
Oh yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, so only Ozai knows.
But they brought the prop in.
We don't. Wan Shi Tong was introduced here too, so we don't even need to go to the library. What are they gonna do?
Oh, Ba Sing Se season 2. Let's do it.
They're just gonna steal.
How's Appa gonna be gone? What is the whole? Are they gonna get rid
Appa's
of that
already gone this whole finale. Who cares?
Appa has to get neutered.
Yeah. So
there's no other bison for him to procreate with anyway.
He has to go to the vet, guys.
So because everyone's adults now, we could talk about procreation of the sky bison. Hoko looks like a vagina.
So you thought
Okay, I wasn't gonna say
we could, but we just like whether or not we should.
yeah. Any thoughts on this is the place we end up with Azula this season?
I thought it was like fine. I mean, it could have been better. I think I would have preferred if May and Ty Lee were there, like in the shot.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
May
that's the
Tyler,
thing
that's
too.
true.
Were they not? Did they not tease them being with her in Omashu?
I did not see them ever in Omashu.
Bro, what was the point of them?
I know. It's like I don't even care about them because what do they do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sam.
no.
What?
And Azula thoughts? I thought you were going to jump in.
I know that that's what we were talking about. I just didn't realize that you wanted me to talk about it. Yeah, that's a good, interesting thing. Why weren't May and Tylee there?
Because the whole beginning of season 2, they're outside of the Fire Nation, or at least they're not outside of the capital. I don't know. But she's like they're out in the world, and Azula's going out in the world. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where this is gonna end up in book 2 or season 2, however we want to call this next season coming up. Is Azula gonna stay on Omashu, or are we gonna go back to Omashu? Who knows? Is Dylan going to get really mad that they didn't do the Cave of Two Lovers if we're going back to Omashu anyway?
Yeah, we have a second opportunity to do it.
Excuse me.
It feels like that we were just spinning our wheels with Azula this whole time, and we're ultimately in the same place that she is in the show, despite not having been on screen. And when we go to season 2, she's just going to be chasing the Avatar and Zuko and stuff. So it really feels like we were
disappointing.
It just felt like we're introducing her for the sake of introducing her. The only thing is this what Zhao talks about, I guess, in that the Zuko your Azula was the real person this whole time, and what's not you.
Or starting his mental breakdown early.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe it's for Zuko's character that we're doing all of this. I don't know. Let's talk about Zuko and Zhao, because it relates to this with Azula. So we have the Zuko Zhao fight from the animated episode.
I loved it. I loved this fight. It was my favorite fight of the whole show.
Oh, nice. I think they kind of expand on it probably even more from the animated show.
Yeah, this one seems like a blend of it brought in some elements of the Agni Kai.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I gotta compare it to the episode 3 Agni Kai.
Like Zuko turns his back and Zhao goes after him and his uncle saves him.
True. So the big headline is Iroh kills Zhao as opposed to Aang as Quazilla killing Zhao.
He's a small man who will meet a small death.
He calls the shot, I guess. And he really said by my hands. He will meet his death.
Iroh was still mad from the Spirit Oasis, so he's like, I'm taking you out.
Do we like this for Iroh? He killed someone.
Yeah, why not?
He killed a lot of
do
people
like
already.
it.
He's a war criminal.
I mean, back in his day. Well, okay, don't say it like that. We love
He's
Zhao.
already a war criminal. It's fine.
Yeah, but he's a reformed war criminal.
He saved his nephew.
Murder is fine if the person you murdered killed one of the elemental spirits.
Okay, that's
stealing is wrong unless it's from pirates.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or the guy trying to kidnap you.
Kind of a shocking change, though. I feel like they kind of surprised you with this one.
My wife was like, he dead.
Was like, is he dead or is he just knocked out? Because
is he going to show up in the future wandering the spirit world?
Yeah, this also means he's not in the fog of lost souls.
But I don't know, there was like blue water underneath him, so maybe it was like the Koizilla kind of gonna drift.
I think they can do whatever they want. He's like trying to move on, and they're like, nope.
He seems very on fire. So he's does like a whip thing. He's about to attack Zuko. Iroh fire. He looks very on fire when Iroh hits him, but then he falls down into the water. He could be alive, I think, if they wanted to go in that direction.
I hope they don't.
He just has burns.
Yes, burns. Yeah, I think so. So let's talk about what he says to Zuko. I think they should bring Zhao back, by the way, because he was one of the only highlights of the season. But so I think they really should. Zhao says, your mission was a sham to Zuko. It was all a game, and the winner is the one without the scar from Daddy.
The dumbest line.
But he reads it so well.
Oh, he does. He said, and this line, Ozai was just using you as motivation for your sister. He says, which okay, thank you for
flame, whatever.
Thank you for telling us what you were saying. Okay, the dialogue is like not good, but it's also trying to be campy. So it's like, how can I criticize it? Like it's supposed to be bad, but it is bad.
How do you know it's supposed to be bad or campy? They might have been trying to
they're
unironically.
I think they're clearly trying to make Zhao campy. At least the actor is.
I think the actor is.
I don't think they're trying to make this show campy. I think they're playing it very straight.
So do I.
Ken Leung is definitely going campy in the last few episodes.
Yeah,
I think Ken Leung he's doing great.
I think he was spectacular in the last few episodes. Like this was the live action Zhao of my dreams, honestly. And it's so interesting because he didn't start like that. He was this more scheming low level Zhao. But they kind of just flip a switch, and then he goes, and it's a little earned, but not really earned. But I don't really care in the end.
He has an ego trip. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it makes enough sense. Yeah, I agree.
It does.
He says, as I quoted, "Who do you think was my ally through all this?"
Dylan the only reason Dylan wants Zhao to come back is because Dylan just loves doing their Zhao voice.
Yeah,
I should. I should work on this too. I gotta do all the Zhao comparisons. He's the Yuyan archers. Who do you think sent the Yuyan archers? Who identified the Blue Spirit sword as yours?
Oh, that happened off screen. I love how they flashed.
And then they flashed to it.
How did he? Did you mail it to her? Like
this, I will say we did.
Yeah,
we don't. It's true. Exactly. There's no real way. But we did bring this question up last episode, and they did answer it here. This was at least a little interesting, but he cites 2 examples. There's really clearly not a lot that happens. He's like acting like this is this huge thing.
This would not hold up in court.
You have 2 pieces of evidence. One of them was sent me archers. Azula told me everything I needed to know. And here, as we said, you are the fire in which her iron was forged. That's all you were. I at least think that was a pretty good line.
How poetic.
That was decent. I kind of liked that one.
I like what Brit said about this show doesn't have the poeticness of original Avatar. I completely agree. At least there's like a little bit of a metaphor going on in this line. Like at least we kind of
the vibe is all over the place. I can't ever tell what tone they're trying to go for.
He was being twirly mustache villain. And I'm all for it.
The most twirly mustache. Oh my gosh.
I think they really should have gone full. I wish they had like committed to a.
So do I.
Whatever it wanted to be.
It doesn't work.
Very frustrating. It would have worked much better. Let's see what else I wanted to say. I think that they setting up Azula and Zuko for like voying for their father's approval is an interesting shift in dynamic. But I'm not sure how long it's going to hold up because I think they're going to give Azula also a redemption arc because it feels like they're setting that up, and then the siblings will then take down the dad. Because, like, I don't know, if I'm Azula, I'm going to be like, well, we're the heirs. What if we just kill him?
Yeah, that's real.
No more daddy problem.
That's one way to take care of it.
I mean, but
honestly, that would be so dope.
I like that Azula was evil and just a little bit off her.
She wasn't in the same room as the Rocker. She wasn't in the same room as the Rocker. Okay.
No, she had never seen the Rocker. She was.
We start to set that up, but so that's ultimately with Zhao. It does feel like Brit was saying, this is in service of the pitting Zuko and Azula against each other, and I guess this is why we do everything we're doing with Zhao, and it's ultimately serves the Zuko arc, and it's at least a little interesting, the pitting them against each other thing. I don't know. It doesn't. We're gonna need this to pay off a lot more. I feel like next season.
Yes.
For this to be worth it. At least we get super campy Zhao here. I loved this scene.
I do enjoy all the scenes where like everyone's like dramatically unfurling a little scroll.
Yes.
They're like, oh, what does this little note say? Oh.
Zhao has this like, bet you want to read this, Iroh. You
like
can't. Okay, now you can.
Game of Thrones. My
yeah,
God.
They do a pigeon. It was on the show. No, that wasn't in the show. Okay. They set up what are the things in the season 3 with we set
the messenger hawks?
The messenger hawks. Yeah. So will we ever do messenger hawks here? Yeah. Okay. Any more thoughts on Zhao or Iroh killing Zhao? I don't know. I feel like we should make a bigger deal of this. Don't say that.
I was always indifferent to Koizilla killing Zhao until it came into play in Korra, so that's my only concern.
Oh, I was telling that to my wife. I was like, guess what? This was actually from Korra. And she was
I really liked the continuity they kept up with in the spinoff series.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what it is.
I still think they could do it if they want.
I mean, they could, but it would be harder to explain because we literally saw Iroh kill him or throw a fireball at him at least.
I do really think bring
He's
Zhao
a
back for book
he's a burned
2.
man.
He could.
Bring him back.
But so,
Big
okay.
change, but look, play to your strengths. This is a big thing shows should do. Like, you have something here with Zhao, like original Zhao material that they'll probably screw up. But
like, so okay, if they bring him back, if he's alive and he has scars, is he going to be an ally to Zuko because now he understands his trauma?
yeah, there's the Scar siblings. Yeah,
He's going to be even more of a little
evil man.
No, if you want, but we'll bleep it if we need to. But yes, we got the picture, so we can get more insight as we go. What do you want to talk about Yue in this episode? The Yue
He's a
sacrifice.
waterbender. What the heck?
Well, that was
I
established.
kind of like that
last
she's a
episode.
waterbender.
Does she do any bending in this episode?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
healed
she
us.
brought Momo
she's the
back
one
to
that.
life.
Also,
It's-
she freezes Sokka to the ground.
Oh, she
to
does
keep him
freeze
away
Sokka,
from
yeah.
her. Like,
Yeah.
let her do her thing. Thank God. I really
That-
did like that Yue had some agency in this
Yeah.
decision.
That's nice. So, and other than that, the other big change is Iroh doesn't suggest that she do this initially. Like in the show, she comes up with it, but she's going to
Also,
sacrifice herself.
obviously, it's because the wig is horrific, but I was kind of upset we didn't get to see like the color leave her hair, but it's because the wig is so they couldn't do it.
That's kind of a key point in the
I feel like
story.
that they could have done that with just edit it and post. The wig is not the problem.
You could have CGI'd the color.
She just disappeared. Her whole body is gone. I like
will
that
say
they
they just did
changed
that. They're
her
like,
hair in the live action movie. And in the show, did her hair change? I don't think it did. In the animated series. She just
I thought
died.
it did.
No, it did in the movie.
What are you talking? Her hair changing?
In
her
the
hair
live
change?
action movie where Seychelle Gabriel plays Yue, when she
Why are we
gives up
talking
her
about the
spirit-
movie? We don't need to talk about the
because the hair is better in that movie. I'll stand by this. At least
Okay.
at least Yue's hair is better in the movie. It
Look
loses its white
at,
color and turns black when she dies.
No, it doesn't.
Are we sure?
Yes.
I'm about to pull it
Here,
up.
we
It
have the
happens
magic
when
of
she's
Google.
a baby and she's dying and it turns
Oh, in
white
the
from
baby.
black.
So we don't have the flashback.
Does that not also
to it.
happen in the? Hold on.
You know, Yue probably
I
just
think we're
needs to
talking
be
about
innovated
different
and
things.
searched,
But we
and
don't
it
get
would've been
the
fine.
we don't get the backstory.
Her hair changes in the
same way.
movie. Go look it up. It changes when she
I
dies.
have a flying
Changing.
clue about that movie, y'all.
I'm Googling it.
I'm telling you, I just looked it up.
Anyway, any other thoughts on so we don't get Yue as a ghost kissing Sokka. That's another
Good,
change.
that's
Thank
fine.
God.
I'm looking
I'm-
it up. Hold on.
I don't think it's good
It's
that
on
her body
TikTok.
is gone.
It's coming up.
It's on TikTok.
I'm telling you,
Why?
don't. I'm the Avatar wiki in human form.
Ben, what did you want to add?
Thank you for hosting, Dwight.
Sorry, but okay. Quick question. I consider my knowledge of the original series pretty thorough, but I couldn't remember this or not. Did the original series ever establish that Yue is or isn't a waterbender?
She was not a waterbender in the original series.
But okay, did they say she wasn't a waterbender or she just never bended?
She never bent.
It never
came up.
It never came up, I guess.
So, so what I was just like, it's not a big change to me because unless they explicitly stated she was a waterbender
That's fair.
or not a waterbender, like I'm fine with her being a bender in this version.
I think it's cool that she's a bender.
I
She
was
just
just
doesn't want to bend.
Also, do they make it like, I'm not really feeling the vibe that she's the moon now,
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, that's true. We're not setting up. I didn't even
Maybe
think of that.
because
We're not
her
setting up that
body
she's the moon, which is
disappears.
important.
I guess it is.
They just say she
She's
healed
wanting to be the
she
moon.
put life back into the moon. They can
Yeah.
hit that later on. I
Her
think
spirit
it's fine.
doesn't have to be the moon, literally. She could just be in the spirit world in her little foxy fox form.
Oh yeah, I guess she'll probably still
Oh
be a
yeah,
fox.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get a really dumb line later. We're like, guys, it's the fox moon, and then Sokka's gonna look up, and he's gonna see
You've heard of the ice moon. Get ready for the fox moon.
literally. Yes,
I was
that's
gonna
what's
say they should have like had a little fox face on the moon now.
I agree.
Because doesn't the moon have a little bunny shape in it? We're not gonna
Or-
use this.
I have no idea.
What are you talking about?
I think
Real
it's
life,
yeah.
Ice.
real life moon.
Yeah, or some kind of ice comet that goes behind the moon and looks like foxtails.
Okay. Look, the options are here. We do get the
Yue's
Yue
comment.
Yue Sokka kiss before she sacrifices herself.
Ugh. Sorry, that's the noise I made. I can't handle it, y'all.
It was fine.
I don't care.
It was fine.
You really don't
It's
like
too
Yue and
good for
Sokka,
him.
I agree. I really
Oh,
wasn't
goodness.
feeling Yue and Sokka this time.
Every girl in this series is too good for
This
Sokka
this
in
Sokka
series.
is more competent,
Don't call
I
him the
guess.
Rizzler.
She can ice
I
cream
didn't say
bend, and Sokka
It's
doesn't
true.
deserve that. Like,
Yeah, that I mean, who does deserve that though?
Yue does.
Oh.
This
Han?
descended into something
No,
else.
Okay.
I
that made
hated
me
how they made
sad.
Han
Why
so
did he
sympathetic,
die?
and like
he
you
dies
had
at
to
the
care
end.
about his death.
They very
I
much
hated
did the
that.
like look at
I mean,
all
I didn't really care about him as a character, but I
But they
thought he
lose
was
they
done
lose the
dirty.
amazing moment of Zhao just tossing him off the
Yeah.
ships. So
Yeah, they didn't even make it to
Admiral
call
Choi.
him.
She
You
just
didn't get to
simply
call him
moves
Admiral
out of the
Choi.
way.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't have a ton on.
But it also reinforces like Yue's main like crux of her character in the short episodes that she is her struggle between duty
Yeah,
and like self
Yeah.
achievement or the things that she wants, and she eventually chooses duty over those things, which is a very difficult decision. But it also is like reflected within the show of like different characters choosing duty over personal like
It's true.
gains.
They do talk about
Like, Aang
responsibility
does it,
and stuff a
Katara
lot.
does it, Sokka does it, Iroh does it, everybody does it. And it's like a very important theme of the show of like, this is what I want, but I am going to serve
Of this show or original Avatar?
original Avatar. I think this
Mm-hmm.
show doesn't carry as many themes as well. And I really wish it had. That's one of the themes I wish they had stuck with. That and like, now there are a couple other. We'll get into it, but that I wish they had like talked about.
This show doesn't really do themes.
Like
It's
personal
like
sacrifice.
they're like,
They're-
we're just going to tell you about it.
We do themes, but it's we don't get in depth as much. How about we can continue talking about. Let's talk about Katara versus Zuko. We mentioned this fight. We only get part one of their fights because of
I'm
the
happy
changes.
Zuko is his little outfit.
These little outfits. Zuko never captures Aang. They never go to the tundra. They never,
tomato,
they don't have a
tomato,
second
tomato.
fight. We don't have the
Tomato.
They didn't do all the
not
fun
much
stuff,
of a
like,
rematch.
it was a big
Tomato.
deal to me when he's like in the original episode, the whole like, he's a firebender, he has to be under the ice, and they did say the breath of fire, and they
Breath
had
of
to-
Fire. We kind of skipped the entire thing of Zuko getting in through the sewers.
We just
go
saw
to-
him burst through the ice, and
we
it was
just
very
burst
comical
through.
without having that dramatic effect behind it of
I
he is
was-
a firebender
I
and it's
was
freezing.
a little bummed out, but I got to see him in his cute little white outfit.
The outfit is good. I'm glad it stayed.
This Katara Zuko
Yeah.
fight, we still get their first fight. It is a similar fight to the animated version. We get the same line of "You found a master, haven't you?"
But we get
then
it changed.
They add on to her response, "Yes, you're looking at her." Interesting
Good
change.
stuff.
Roasted.
Roasted. And then again, a similar-ish fight. I saw the behind the scenes of them rewatching it. It was pretty cool with actors.
Yeah, it was cute. They had little like light things on their palms to like show where the bending was supposed to go.
Oh, that's cool.
That is nice. That is a good view trick for.
Yes, I think it was nice. The big change here, though, is that it just never turns to day in this episode.
Yeah.
And so we don't get one of
The
my favorite
iconic
lines of the
line.
entire show. You rise
Yeah.
with the moon, I rise with the sun.
How do you feel about that, Zutaras?
No.
Guys, I was so afraid that they were going to do Zutara in this show that I almost put off watching it. I put off watching it until somebody could tell me that it
We'll
didn't
check
happen.
in on
And
the
yet,
hidden Zutara later.
There was still hidden Zutara.
Yeah, we'll so there and yet. So, but yeah, we don't do that line, iconic. But they just kind of. It's interesting because the first episode really emphasizes the like effects on bending, like oh, it's the comet, so we're more powerful. But we don't do the night and day thing here. That's just kind of written out.
Tomato, 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 tomato. I don't like the changes they made here at all.
I think
Except,
the fight was still
I guess,
good though.
for Katara's extra line. But
Yeah,
even
that
then,
was
it was
good.
like, this is giving 2000s feminism.
I did like when Aang was like, "Go easy," and he's like,
Yeah,
"I
I wasn't talking to you."
That was
Yeah, that's a good line too.
Good
yeah.
Katang line.
What's the significance of tomato?
throwing tomatoes like you're at a concert.
Allie's saying Allie is disapproving of the change. It's a disapproval emoji, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where's
so
the tomato
it's a
emoji?
day that ends in Y, basically.
Yes, exactly. Any other thoughts on Katara and Zuko here?
I don't like that they did it
wish
in an
it had been
enclosed
out-
space. Yeah. Should have been outside.
There's an enclosed space. Like there's the elements of all around. There's no like visceral fight over Aang. He's not there. She's not physically defending him.
Yeah, it's
She's
it's lame.
They're just in a room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visually, it was
they're
done
kind of
well.
just in a room.
I do think the fight itself was good.
Yeah.
Cinematography, like the fight sequences.
The
I want them to be in a
cinematography.
setting.
Yeah, I want to talk more about the scene of Zhao threatening the Koi to Aang, because we have some amazing Zhao dialogue we need to go over as well here.
Dylan just likes doing the Zhao voice.
I know, but I'm gonna lose it if we keep doing it. Wipe out. I can wipe out an entire race of benders. And Aang's like, yeah, I can imagine what it's like. So we kind of try to tie that into.
Also, I can't believe you said that. No, it was so funny. My wife was like, "Did you really just say that to him?"
So that's why I guess we do the waterbender, moon spirit, ocean spirit thing, so Aang can relate it to his past.
Yeah, because we were talking about this, like, what is the goal of wiping out other nations? Like,
there'll be no world to rule. The Avatar won't matter anymore once I eliminate waterbending. Here, Master of 3 elements doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
That was funny.
He's so irritating. I was like,
I love that so much.
That was a great. If you're gonna do the eliminate waterbending, at least they got a great line out of it. Honestly, like
they really did. They got there.
Let's face it, you don't matter anymore. Actually, I'm not sure you ever did.
And I'm sorry, the Aang being like, "You're right. I don't matter." Like, all right, shoot.
He has low self-esteem.
So sad. You're right. The world needed the Avatar, and I failed. Touching. Not that I care.
I love Zhao so much.
Yeah,
Zhao is like full mask off the whole time. I love it.
Oh, here's what I thought was dumb slow-mo. Maybe you guys were talking about this. Iroh attacks Zhao, and then slow-mo of Zhao like going forward and stabbing the fish, which I feel like someone could have stopped him, but it was moving. It was moving so slow. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think we probably hit on all the Zhao dialogue, but it was I think the best part here. What else haven't we talked about? How about this concept of we've been talking about it? Is the show making Sokka not a warrior? Because I think we eventually do get to this. I think Jeff mentioned the talk with Arnook at the end, and you say that you don't have to be a warrior to be a hero is kind of the key line of that. So yeah, Jeff, what do you think ultimately where we end up with Sokka here? Do you think we are going down him just full on not a warrior in the show?
I don't know, because like they showed him bashing up a Fire Nation ship earlier, so he clearly knows how to fight.
He can at least do some moves, but was that more of a tactical thing because he was just destroying the thing? Like, versus...
I mean, yeah, it had no bearing on the outcome for sure. It would be interesting to see his personal path. Say, I am now a mechanist, whatever, instead of someone who fights. But I mean, it's his character to be the boomerang guy, right? And not the sensible, straight talking fellow. So.
What I'm wondering is this even a change, or are they stating the same thing in the show that he's a tactician? Is this just a different way of saying that he's a tactician, that he's not a warrior?
Yeah, they'd have to do more ground, or cover more ground to get to there, but that'd be a good direction to go.
That is the direction I assumed they were going in, especially
because he's more of the engineer right now. But in the show, he ends up as being the master tactician. So we'll see how they kind of bridge that gap if they even intend to. But I kind of like the themes of him just not being a warrior. We're mentioning the show doesn't have themes. They're trying to do that with Sokka. I think ultimately Sokka has one of the better overall arcs, I guess, of the season.
Again, the show
they change it from the original show, but at least he does have one. I will give him that. He does have one.
Does have an arc, yeah.
Unlike some people.
Unlike some people.
The thing I just really loved about that scene was just the like, oh, you were there for my daughter and made sure she wasn't alone and scared in her final hours. Like,
It was nice.
That's depressing.
Yeah, and he emphasizes it was her own choice, and this whole she has agency kind of route.
Yeah.
If they go down the not a warrior thing, is Sokka gonna get a sword?
This was my first thought. Like, are we still going to do a sword?
Very important.
It is important.
I mean, does he even have a boomerang in this show?
Yeah, he made it himself. Don't you remember?
Yeah, but did it come up since then? Since episode 2?
He has used it.
No.
He used it in like the last episode or the one before to like hit some Fire Nation people on the head.
Okay. I think we gotta highlight the boomerang more.
Using a boomerang is so tactical. Like, remember when he throws it and he hits Sparky Boom Man right in the forehead? Like, that was awesome.
Okay, well, we gotta get there.
And it is an Inuit weapon. And my mic just fell over. Sorry, guys.
Ben?
I was just one, I liked the emotional impact of that scene. You know, it's just like, you know, sometimes in the heat of moment, like just doing the right thing, and the right thing for him in that moment was being there so Yue wasn't alone. You know, I liked that with him saying, you know, you didn't have to fight to be a hero in that moment. And I mean, as far as like, you know, will we see him get the sword and stuff? I think they're just setting up that he can be more than one thing. You know, he can be a good warrior. Like, he can fight when he needs to, but he can have other strength as well. So I think they're just taking us in a slightly different path to him getting to that point. So
yeah, I think fair. I think that's probably true. We mentioned this, but I don't think we talked enough about it. The last scene of the season is the great sage showing what a scene partner for Ozai in the post credit scenes. The great sage.
No,
we totally care about him. He's showing Ozai that the Sozin's comet is finally coming as we light it on fire on the thing. So finally, we get Sozin's comet in the last scene of the season.
Yay!
What do we think about this?
I do like that they know Sozin's comet is coming, but also if it comes every 100 years, how do you not know? Do people not chart the stars here? Like,
that's true.
It's in the sky.
I guess they could figure out the exact date from this.
That would make sense.
Does it come every 100 years? Do they actually say that?
No, he goes soon.
It's soon, right?
Like,
so like.
Okay.
This is their attempts to establish Sozin's comet without yet knowing how they're going to handle time,
or if they were even going to get more. So it makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's irritating now that we know we're getting more. It's like, what do you mean soon? And there's going to be like,
this just felt like a very cagey way of doing it.
For sure.
Like, I kind of just prefer if they didn't mention it and just bring it in season 2.
That's fair.
And then have everybody crop their pants. You know,
It's a surprise. It's back. We never knew it'd come back. Like, yes. I mean, I guess that'd be different from what they established in episode 1. But this is a weird way of handling it.
I'm just
also
really like the whole drive. You have to learn all the elements by summer's end, and Aang hasn't waterbended a single drop of water.
Yeah, but there's no clock, so I guess he's fine.
But he needs.
There is a clock. We just don't know what it is.
It's soon.
So
they're gonna do seasons 2 and 3, and they probably have to like stretch out time because they have to film everything, and the children are gonna age.
Yeah. Ben.
So even if they did the movie that shall not be mentioned and made it 3 years from now, I think that would be. I could live with that answer. He has 3 years to master all the elements because that's still hard.
Yeah.
I would still poop my pants if I had to master 3 elements.
It's still pretty quick overall. That's true. Ben?
Yeah.
So I was waiting for us to kind of get to the point that he didn't waterbend at all in this season.
Yes, we can talk about that now.
Okay. So I have a perspective on this, and it's actually thanks to my wife, because I don't know if she heard it somewhere else or like she actually thought of this, but I thought it was a good point. So if you'll recall, I think it was episode 1 or 2 where they showed Aang training, yet he almost blew all of his like fellow airbenders off the mountain. And so Shannon, that's my wife, Shannon, she was like, okay, what if this is their take on The Deserter? Where Aang tried to firebend, burn Katara, and then he's like, I never want to firebend again. So I wonder if the show was kind of taking a slightly different approach with that, or a different take, where he's afraid to learn the other elements because he's already afraid of his own power. He's not afraid to use it when he absolutely has to. But
yeah, I think that's interesting, and I think that makes sense with that. What they showed with the he's afraid afraid to overbend and need to learn to control his power. The problem is that they just didn't mention this, in relation to him not waterbending.
I do think it ties into him, we do. I mean, honestly, so as much as this isn't necessarily Aang's arc in the original series, Aang does go through, he has this arc in the original series, but it happens earlier versus the entire season in this show, where Aang has to accept that he's the Avatar. And that's really, I think, what their arc they were going for this entire first season is that Aang, which, I'm not too happy about the whole, you have to go it your own way, but do everything on your own. But I think that's kind of you have to accept being the Avatar. And so now that he's accepted he's the Avatar, he must learn all the elements. So he didn't, and we do have a couple scenes where he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't really feel like learning waterbending. And I think it's still that struggling with him being the Avatar.
I like that too. Again, though, I have the same response. I'm not sure that the show has said that explicitly enough.
I do think the show has said it enough-ish.
It was present early on. I think his arc more towards the end was more about him needing to do it on his own. Maybe that's a component of accepting that he's the Avatar. We just needed him some sort of more clear explanation actually given to us as to why he's not waterbending here. But these are interesting interpretations. Let me bring in feedback. Avatar Momo says, my fear is that with the kids aging between seasons 1 and 2, the show will be forced to include a time jump when season 2 picks up, and I fear all of Aang learning and mastering waterbending will have happened off screen during that time. Yep. How can we have season 2 without Aang waterbending? It seems like they wrote themselves into a hole. Will we get to watch him learn any bending? Will season 2 not focus on him learning earthbending? Good questions. And
I think we could do a montage. That would be cool.
These are exactly my fears, so I'm glad this person brought it up.
If season 2 starts 2 to 3 years later, which I think it will, just because the actors look 2 to 3 years older, he has to have been waterbending during that time, so we have to come back to him being an advanced waterbender already. So yes, I think he definitely will have learned it off screen, which I think sucks.
So theory craft here, let's say there is a time jump. Maybe they decide to stay in the North for a while to help them rebuild and to allow Aang time to learn waterbending. He's not mastered it. So we could still have moments of training on that. But then something happens, maybe they find out about the Earth Kingdom, or maybe they finally find out about Sozin, be it from Roku or whoever, and then all of a sudden that's when the clock starts.
It feels like they're gonna start in the Northern Water Tribe, exactly what you said. They're still training, but we're only gonna get to see a snippet of that before he gets another vision from Roku, Kuruk, or whoever.
Look, I like that. Again, I like the theories. At the end of the episode, they seem to be implying they're leaving. They say, now you're going to learn all the elements. Earth means back to Omashu. They don't necessarily say right away. That's true. They call him Melonhead, by the way. But the impression you get is that they're not staying, I would say. But they could do whatever. I
am intrigued how they're going to handle this, time jump.
Yeah, I think they got it. I think they got to jump a few years.
It didn't take them that long to get from all the way from the south to the north. It only took a few weeks. Well, so if they're going back to Omashu,
but then they're going to find Omashu's been taken over, so they're not going to have them retake Omashu off screen. So it's interesting. Where are they going to spend the next 2 years?
Not in the Cave of Two Lovers, that's for sure.
But that's why I think the North would be okay in the idea of helping them rebuild.
Yeah.
And maybe the North has been so focused on rebuilding, they don't know about Omashu being captured.
Which they probably wouldn't. But it does make the most sense for them to stay at the North, go to the South. Anyway, we'll continue to talk about this. I want to talk about the Katang that we mentioned. Yes. I'm going to officially declare the hidden Katang segment the hidden Katang segment is no more, because Katang is back.
Yeah, it's
for
not
real. It's not hidden anymore.
We did 2 out of 10.
Katara shouts, Aang is in the Koizilla. Katara shouts to Aang, come back. You're not just the Avatar, you're my family. And she says we're like all family, but she specifically says like you're my family. And then Aang sees Katara like in the Quasilla form, and she says, "You weren't meant to die 100 years ago. The world needs you. I need you."
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to back it up though, because even like without the like direct dialogue from Katara, the whole like lore. I think Yue is narrating this. I don't remember the details, but she's like the spirit is always like searching for its partner.
Yes.
It's never gonna find it.
You know,
And it's
they
always gonna be
juxtapose
despair.
the like.
Yes.
Searching
It's
for the
so
partner. Oh,
That was my very not hidden Katara.
Aang looking at Katara while the spirit's looking back for the
No,
moon.
it's Katara looking at Aang while he's going.
And
off.
Aang looks back at Katara too once the moon.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about during that dialogue where she's talking about the spirits looking for its partner.
I love this. Good hidden.
It's very not hidden. It's very much in your face propaganda, and I appreciate it.
We approve propaganda. Yeah,
I'm falling for it. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, as we've been saying, we were talking about if they're going to skip 2 to 3 years, the actors will be older. They're going to be more likely to want to do it. So, but season 2, they already took away the most prominent Katang episode.
Mike,
so
what are you gonna do?
They might just have to do original content, which I guess is fine.
I don't hate that. I like the progression that they're having with this Katang.
I do
stuff.
too.
I want them to waterbend in their underwear like they're supposed to.
Oh, before
That's
the
true.
cave.
There's a lot of that happening.
There happens a lot.
In their bathing suits.
It's their underwear.
Their underwear.
Look,
All
that's why some people go in the water. So I overall, as upset as I was that they took the Katang out of Cave of Two Lovers, and I still am upset about it. Overall, I agree with Sam. This is like a completely valid way to approach Katang. Take away Aang's crush and just have them kind of slowly build up. They're young, so then they're just establishing their bonds without kind of romance at first.
I think it's more realistic.
I'll still be mad about sledding forever. I don't care.
The big downside is that you just lose all the fun and emotions out of it that we got in the original show.
What if we open season 2 with penguin sledding because they've had downtime?
Then I will.
Actually, that's a great idea. I love that as an opening scene for season 2.
I think they should do it. Gordon even said he wanted to do the penguin sledding line.
Yeah, he said that. If we're staying in either the north or we open in the south, open on penguin sledding. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The north has got to have penguin otters, right?
Yeah,
Still
actually,
the
I don't know
Arctic.
that. It's true. Isn't that a thing in our world? It's like, actually, penguins aren't in the North Pole. Isn't that a thing?
No.
I think.
Can't do it.
Does anyone have Hidden Zutara?
Yes.
Okay, Ben. With Mel gone, I go to you for our Hidden Zutara here.
Excellent. So Katara's down and Zuko's approaching. He's ready to firebend, but you could see in his face he slightly hesitates because he's just so taken aback by her beauty, even in that moment.
Oh boy. Oh man. Yeah.
At the end.
I guess so.
I wanted to say something else, but no, I'll keep it.
I like this. Here's Avatar Momo's Hidden Zutara. When Zuko gets up, doesn't even glance over her as he leaves. He's showing faith in how strong she is and how much he doesn't think she's a damsel in distress who needs to be saved. He leaves her crushed and alone, buried under the rubble as a sign of his affection.
See, this is something actual Zutaras would say.
Yeah, but it's also like deranged.
I really enjoy that listeners are getting in on this really horrible thing. It's amazing.
It's good. We love continue to send the Hidden Zutara. We love it. Not a good episode for Zutara shippers in seriousness. We could have leaned into it more. We did not.
I do have the Hidden Zutara Tumblr URLs. If you would like to send me your Hidden Zutaras, I will.
You're going to say if you'd like to send me money in exchange for the URL.
That's what I thought too.
Was the Hidden Zutara Tumblr URL? Did you guys ran this back in the day? Is that it?
Yes, we did. We have this one, which doesn't have any posts. We also have the Makora Negativity Project.
I remember the
Makora
Makora
resurgence
one, yeah.
in recent events, and now has a weird number of large followers.
People are still shipping Makora.
They're still popping the biggest
in 2024.
Bottles.
People are still popping
People
bottles.
are still mad about Makora in 2024.
They're popping the bottles.
Am I gonna if we do live action Korra, I'm gonna have to revive Guru Korrasami.
Oh God, no one understands
So,
what we're talking about.
I did hear somebody confirm that Netflix does not have the rights to Korra.
Yeah, Paramount still owns it for a little
There's
bit.
always time. There's
I mean, I
a
don't think
card.
Netflix has the rights to Avatar either. They just got the show
In
specifically.
partnership with Nickelodeon.
Yeah, so I think they could just similarly approve as a core thing in the future. But this show also came out of a time. This show came out of a time when there was more Netflix and Nickelodeon kind of collaborations, and they don't seem to be doing stuff like this anymore. So this probably is going to be it, at least as of now. I agree.
Rest in peace, Glitch Tex.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on that's a great show, by the way, if you're wondering what
everyone watch.
Okay.
Here
Glitch Tex on Netflix. Okay. Paku says to Katara, getting more into this stuff, you reminded him change is the key to life or whatever. Aang has a journey to complete after all. The Avatar still has to learn waterbending. And in that case, he couldn't have asked for a better master, says to Katara.
Also, hold on. How are you not going to bring up the fact that water is the element of change?
Water is the element of change, yeah.
No, wait, does he say that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Never mind. Sorry.
And he's like, I'm sorry I was a big butthead. You were wrong.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I think this is similar dialogue from the show.
You remind me of your grandmother.
No, we don't get that part.
I actually liked how he took the water is the element of change. Like the way he's like, I understand its meaning now, or like I understand
when I'm on my deathbed.
I had forgotten. You reminded me.
In the beginning of this episode, we got the young guy calling Katara Master, which we
and then he
mistakenly
died.
was last
yeah,
episode.
He's dead.
And then he died. That was depressing, more so than Han. That night,
I felt
that
more
like
for
young
him than
kid,
Han.
Right? Yeah, the kid that was that's very sad. I will say our discourse last podcast about how it would be more effective if it didn't just seem like Paku was misogynistic in the North. I don't think this episode did anything to change that. In fact, it kind of just reinforced that it was just Paku.
It was just Paku.
It really just seemed they really just focused too much on it being Paku.
You get that crowd of all the women behind Katara, and it's like, why does this exist? Like, why is he the one guy? And he's not even the chief. Why does he get to establish that rule?
So back in the
our
beginning,
note,
Katara says to Paku, forget your pride, we can make a difference, and all the women are there. Yagoda says, I think it's her, what good is it relying on the past when it stops us from having a future? Get over yourself, you old fool, and let us get the job done. What do we think of that?
Good line, but it's still, the whole thing is stupid. Why does he get to control what waterbenders do when he's not even the chief and everyone is against this decision, even the young men?
Should have established his role more.
Doesn't make any sense.
I still don't think their intent is for him to be the only one. It's just he's representative of the old guard, but
you would think that like Yue's dad, the chief, would be like more of a driving force in that, especially if like,
at least he's not trying to stop it. I mean, it's his regime, so clearly he's okay with all this misogyny, But we don't really get into it.
Surprised Yue also didn't speak up about it because she was so outspoken about her own life. Like, why not try to help lift up other women? Disappointing.
We could have got into it more with Yue.
Exactly.
Dan, what did you want to say?
I have a lot of feelings about this.
Let's go.
Maybe not like a lot, but I do have strong feelings nonetheless. It just felt like a very, like they wanted to pat themselves on the back for how much feminism they had. I think I wrote in my notes, all the women are going to fight #feminism. Yeah, I don't know. Just the way it was set up, like all of these, like, awesome water tribe women are just standing there in a perfect formation waiting for Paku to use them. And I'm just like, why do they need his permission? Why does it have to be about Paku overcoming his misogyny in order to let these women fight? Why can't they just do it of their own volition and their own agency, and just Paku can just be like, oh, I was wrong. Women can't fight. That would
have been way more effective.
Yeah, it would have been. But
it would have been
we had
so
to make
much more.
We had to make it all about Paku and like getting his permission about Paku and Katara, and just like it did. Who cares?
In their attempt to be very feminist, they seem to still put the women's, like, all of their development on the shoulders of men's opinions and decisions.
Yes, and that is just, it's so weak.
It's very weak.
Like, they just, it's very, I hate to use this word, but it's very basic.
It is.
It's not.
I mean,
especially for 2024.
2008 feminism.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it infuriates me to no end.
Do we even see them bend in the end?
Do they do much?
A little bit.
I don't think so.
No, we see zero of them doing anything.
I thought we saw them like repairing some walls or like putting up a wall.
Yeah, I think so. Right after that scene, I think we see them do a little bit. I that's how I felt about original Avatar. It's very like 2008 feminism, but I think the show had a chance to expand upon it a little bit at the very least, and they ended up like doing it even more basic. You could argue
it's still
then,
2008 feminism. If anything, it's 2004 feminism.
We gotta pause the battle in order to like hash this out with Paku. Like, come on. Like it's just ridiculous. It's absurd, is what it is. Which, like, okay, it's a fictional show. My belief has to be suspended, but like, dude, it's just it makes me angry, and I don't like it.
Yes, I think we got this. Yes.
Thank you.
I agree with everything. I think it would have been a more powerful scene to see them just kind of go in there. Just in universe, wondering if maybe it was like, well, we need to coordinate with the battlefield commander to make sure there's no chaos happening. That's the only thing I can think of for what would justify it.
Which I think is probably what they're going for.
They didn't even set it up that way.
Yeah, Paku's like probably supposed to be that role, but we don't get into it. Yeah,
right.
So it would have been nice. Yeah, I agree, and I think some things were better last episode, as we discussed, but also, you know, your mileage may vary, and can listen more on last podcast for. But also, if anyone has more on it, feel free to chime in. I just wanted to note the main scene we didn't talk about yet was when Aang coming out of Koizilla. We play like the theme music, I believe.
It's so good. I'm like,
one of the most prominent music cues of the show, because I was criticizing the music's too soft. We go pretty hard on that scene, at least.
I mean, they had to for this. If they didn't, that would have been the biggest wasted opportunity.
It's so good. I'm happy.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked it. And I think we're basically getting to the end of the parts that I wanted to note. I'm going to go even the odds, Katara says, as Sokka says. Maybe it's more 60-40, and that's what sets up her going to Paku.
I thought that was a funny line.
It was.
She was like 50-50, 60-40.
So you're telling me there's a chance. But yeah, just trying to set up the Paku talk. I don't know. Yeah. Anything jumping out to anyone? Parts we haven't gone over yet.
We talked about Momo.
That was your main thing?
I mean, that was the biggest, most jarring change for me.
Anyone else, just to make sure I don't move on from it too soon, anyone else on the Katara Paku stuff? Any other further thoughts?
We just don't see her like fight much over the course of the show, right? In like a scrappy fighting style. So when she breaks out all this stuff at the end, it does feel a little out of left field. Yeah. And I'm like, girl, when did you learn to fight? We never seen you fight nobody.
Yeah. I think I agree. Does Katara do a lot in this episode, battle-wise? Like, she's watching Aang for a lot of it. I know
Other than her fight with Zuko, no.
She fights with Zuko. That's like the one thing she does here. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I guess still an improvement over earlier. Let's bring in the rest of the feed. I've been referencing a little bit. Let's bring in the rest of our feedback. Avatar Momo also says what you pointed out, Ali, parallels between the moon and ocean spirits in Katara and Aang. I think we went over
I like that.
Rest already. So there you go. Let's go to Marilyn Lars, who also says, I loved Zhao in this so much. The actor is great, and I kind of wish they didn't kill him off. Don't know what you'd have Zhao do in books 2 to 3, though. Maybe have him be Zuko. Give him his own scar and have him chase Zuko.
I know what I said. So
the opposite of
I don't know. I just
I'm looking for the Fire Nation Prince.
Yeah.
And you get to say the word honor all the time.
Yes. Oh my god. I have to bring Zhao back just so you can be the one to talk about honor.
You took my power, my honor.
I don't know. I just love seeing this dude snake around and chew scenery. I agree. He was chewing scenery a lot. Zhao's actor. Marilyn Lars says, overall the show.
Scenery, or is that a phrase?
It's a phrase. It's an expression, Allie.
Okay.
Did you see him eat scenery, Allie?
I was barely paying attention because I was bored.
Doesn't someone chew like on a straw? Jet, I guess. Did Jet have a little straw to chew on in the show?
He did.
Yes, he did. I hated
okay.
it.
chewing on it. Lars says, overall, the show is okay. I agree with everyone that the Fire Nation stuff was probably the best stuff. I enjoyed the show and liked it more on a second rewatch. I'm excited for season 2 and 3, but I'm a freak that really wanted to see a sequel to the movie, so maybe I'm not the best judge.
Oh, you are a freak. Full of sense.
Happy to have y'all in my ears again. Brought me back to the days of just getting into the fandom during Korra Book 1. Thank you. Yay. Yes, those were good times. That was
I
big.
thought something was wrong with me.
Don't worry, there still can be.
It's okay.
There still is. Chris writes to us and says, I've been listening to Overly Animated, a podcast for only about a year and a half. I've managed to binge your coverage for The Owl House, Miraculous Ladybug, Star Wars: The Force of Evil, Summer Camp Island, Glitch Text, Dragon Prince, Little Witch Academia, Final Space, Kipo,
Jesus
The Hollow,
Christ.
and probably a bunch more. So there's a bunch of shows you could, if you enjoy animated stuff. You haven't watched a bunch of animated stuff recently. Chris says, my life has been a mess. I've often been so depressed. I've had dark thoughts, but even in those times, listening to you guys has never failed to put a smile on my face. This podcast and all of its wonderfuls means so much to me, and I really wanted you guys to know that.
Whoa.
Thank you so much, Chris.
That's
I'm
so
really
kind.
glad.
That's really cool.
That's great. I'm glad Overly Animated specific people here chiming in as well, so that's cool. I think a lot of different types of people listening. Chris says, my biggest complaints are as follows about this show. I'm skipping through all the emails, by the way, which is why it's kind of random. The green screen backgrounds are sometimes too noticeable because of the Gaussian blur / depth of field effect they applied. I don't know too much about this. Do you agree, Sam?
On the green screen. Like sometimes I'm like, wow, we were not here. Like,
yeah.
Like real obvious.
Basically, in each of the water tribes. Like, wow, we're not.
And
anywhere
of course,
near.
there is a lot of Greenstein stuff happening, but yeah. Some of the wigs look very bad, as we've covered, says Chris. By condensing and speeding through the story like this, we're losing important character moments and ultimately end up with what feels like superficial interactions and relationships. I believe the actors are all doing their absolute best and are capable of shining even more, but the dialogue and possibly direction they're given seems to be holding them back at times.
Agreed.
I think it's a good summary of a lot of our high-level complaints about what's going on.
I will say everyone is just so incredibly cast. It's like amazing.
Yeah, the cast is perfect.
Chris, can you? Zhao was starting to feel like a CW villain to me at the end there, but I'm not going to lie, I found it quite entertaining.
That's like what's good about him. That's like what.
It's good.
But it would be better if that campy tone was more consistent throughout, I think.
I agree. Yeah.
I do like his sudden turn. Like, I thought it was kind of funny. Like, I'm an admiral now and I'm just going to go nuts.
I like what they tried there. I don't think
You got to get a promotion.
He had an ego trip and he let it go to his head.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's fun what they tried. It like everything else in the show, it would have been nice if we had more to it than what they just showed us. Like we've been.
Like, I do wonder what 20 episodes of live action would do.
Yeah, and also
so
just
nice.
like what if the original show had the Zhao arc instead of him being like super campy from the start? If he kind of built up like that would have been interesting.
They really just should have made it Xena, but Avatar.
Yeah,
I'm telling y'all, Xena is like, if they would have done the Xena tone, it had a lot of camp and it had a lot of seriousness, it would have worked. But alas,
I think
not 1995 anymore. It really is. It's a great show.
And last thing from Chris, P.S. I would give Sokka Milky, although I would have settled for watching him suck on a frog, but looks like that won't happen, unfortunately.
Okay.
I am sad about the frogs. That was, that's good stuff.
I'm sad about the frogs, and I'm sad that the listeners are making Milky into
We got one last Milky into it. Yeah, that's good.
No, it's not.
It's good job, guys. Your mistake.
No.
Okay, let's start to close out here. Look, we haven't gone quite as long as I would have feared, so that's nice. Let's start thinking about your final thoughts. Does anyone have anything to jump in with here? Any final thoughts? Let's go to Allie.
I thought you would say that. I'm excited. Ben mentioned it before, and I think we've all said as much throughout this whole series review discussion in each episode. I'm excited that we do have more opportunity to see where they can go with the show. And I think there's a lot of potential to improve on what they've already done well and what they haven't done so well. And I really, 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 really hope they listen to all of the fan feedback and, do what they will with it. I hope they get enough money and time to do what they want to do with it. No, not the Zutarians. They can suck it. I I don't know. I'm worried for a lot of reasons, especially because with book 2, I think it's the best one. It introduces the best character on the face of the earth. There's a lot of potential for this to go so right and also so wrong, but I think it's a good thing that we're gonna get to see it come to full fruition, and I'm excited to see the changes. I think Britt, you mentioned like you said this is like probably a crazy take, but we've been saying it through the podcast pretty consistently. I think they should also change as much as possible to make it better. Like you don't have to do shot for shot remakes. Be creative,
but not like
not
take
to
the
be
Tang out of Gave It
unfaithful
to
to,
Lovers.
like, the
not
heart
that
of
change.
no.
Everything else fine.
That was one of the worst changes you did. I hate you for that. You did some good ones too. Stick with the good. Keep the good. Take the bad out and make it better. You guys have the power. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking about it with y'all at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people saying they hope we cover seasons 2 and 3.
I think we have to at this point.
Look, this is like this is like 2 years in the future. Talk to me then, okay? Like maybe, probably, okay. This is they haven't even written it as far as we know. Like seriously, this like season 2 will probably come out 2026 at the earliest.
Yeah, we'll all be in our 30s.
God.
There's been a writer's...
Okay, well, you're not invited. I'm just kidding.
Totally
kidding.
Say there's
already
apparently been a writer's room in place since
12.
Okay, yeah, you saw, Ben, they have done some advanced writing. A lot of shows do that.
They haven't done any
not ordered.
filming yet, though, right?
No. There's just been a writer's room in place since January of last year, so...
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I assume they weren't continuous through that.
Please expand the writer's room. Y'all need it desperately. Get more women in there. I feel like there's not enough women doing any work here.
We definitely had female writers.
Not enough, I don't think.
Not enough on International Women's Day, Dylan.
Yeah.
Real.
God. Not
Dylan.
when this is coming out. Yeah, this episode was not. This episode was written by showrunner Albert Kim. Last episode written by Audrey Wong Kennedy. I don't know. I still favorite episode. How about that? I think I'm gonna go with episode 7. Weirdly, I still think that's the one.
I don't remember what happened in each of them well enough to just like.
Maybe we can answer this question when we do a season
retroactively.
Maybe we don't have to do it now.
Yeah, we'll do retroactively.
We'll come back to it.
Episode.
Britt, how about you? What are your final thoughts on the finale?
They made the Fire Lord really hot. What is his motivation? Like, why does he want to take over the world? What does the Fire Nation gain?
He wants everyone to see his
question.
His real goal is to create a fitness empire.
So the world can see the gloriousness that is Fire Lord Ozai.
I think they're gonna make this work. He's got to have motivation because they're making him like a real person who I think cares about the Fire Nation. And if they're gonna do that and have Azula and Zuko and all the people care about the Fire Nation has to have a goal, and their goal can't be burn. The fire is fun.
Yeah,
it's not gonna work. So I think they should do that. And then number 2, I like that the 41st Division follows Zuko.
Yes.
Because he saved them. I think that was a very... that sets him up as a leader, and that is a very good. I think they shafted Katara the entire way through, and that's why I almost rage quit.
Valid.
But they have room to improve. They're seasons 2 and 3. Maybe I'll forgive them. I thought Aang was fine. I liked his actor. I think his actor is competent and did well. Sokka was funny. They have changed his art completely, and initially I was angry with that, but I think I can let that go as long as they do good things with whatever character they give him. Iroh is the best, I think, and the best casted and the best acted, next to Zhao, who I really enjoyed. I think Azula is going to be different. And I just have... Sorry, that was some dude yelling outside my house. I think Azula is going to be different, and I just have to accept it, even if I don't want to. And then, whatever May and Ty Lee do, I'm here. Appa was big and fluffy and not ugly and creepy, and I was really afraid that he was going to be ugly and creepy, but he was not. And for that, I call it a win.
Nice.
So,
good.
C+.
Okay, C+.
All right.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
That's passing. Jeff, quickly, as might have to drop soon. What any final thoughts from Jeff here?
Well, actually, Britt, what you said about the 41st, that reminded me. I'm interested to see if they come back. That would be cool.
Oh,
but
yeah,
overall,
they talked about Lieutenant G, like he would about it.
Yeah. I guess overall, it felt like it smells like the kind of show which really will get its bearing after the first season and be better.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic.
Okay.
Cora got better after the first season.
Right?
Eventually.
That's a good
Eventually.
point.
Not immediately, but eventually.
Well, it did. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
It did.
It's true. It was just the first season.
And shows with changes can be good. House of the Dragon is very different than the books, and it's very good. So
yeah.
I have to pick your brain about that later.
It's coming back soon.
We will talk. Allie and me, we have much to discuss.
Also
Alex,
a show
what are
with
yours?
bad wigs.
We'll see if people like the next big Netflix's show is changing things. The Three Body Problem. I know they're going to be changing a lot of things from the book. So interested to see if that goes the way of the show, which I'm not sure if we've made a determination on yet. Sam, why don't you give us your final thoughts here?
Oh, wouldn't we love to all hear Sam's final
Yes,
thoughts?
we would.
Gotta look out for number one.
Yeah, I gotta look out for number one. As far as this episode goes, as I said, I liked it. I don't know. Maybe it's like a 6 out of 10. I don't know. It was fine.
What's your grade for the season?
Oh, my grade for the
wrap-up
season. Give it like a C.
Okay.
It was okay. I didn't hate watching it. I like to watch it with my girlfriend and talk about how things frustrated me and her, so that was fun. I like how what's this person's name? Marilyn Lars says, whatever the Avatar universe equivalent, this is from the feedback, whatever the Avatar universe equivalent of a lifted pickup truck with LED headlights is, Paku looks like the type of guy that has one. I agree.
It's true.
That is a Sam type feedback. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about this guy's face. It's just like, I've worked with this kind of guy. Like, he just has one of those faces. Like, I've worked with this guy before, and he totally does have the pickup truck.
Misogynist, punchable faces.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's got like truck nuts.
So maybe it was good casting.
I don't know about that, Delaney. But yeah, I would say I am looking. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but I am cautiously optimistic about the forthcoming 2 other seasons. I hope that they keep doing what they're doing, but better.
Yeah.
I really like. I think that Zuko is the best part of the show, and as long as they have him, can't go wrong.
Agree.
Very nice. So we've heard C+ and C so far. Can I get a B- from anyone? Is anyone willing to go to a B-?
God, what are you, an auctioneer?
Yes.
Yeah. Ben's willing to go to B-, B. Can I get a B from anyone?
No. B- is the most generous rating you should give.
Delaney and Ben are maybe at a B-, I'm hearing.
I'll stick with my C+.
I think I'll go. Yeah, I think we're in the right range here. I agree. Okay, I don't know exactly. Delaney, why don't have you? I don't remember. Have you given final thoughts yet?
I have
if not,
not.
Can you give us final thoughts?
So part of my final thoughts was I'm not sure if I'm a B or a B-. And
he is too generous.
Overall, I'm happy with the show. I am very excited for the next 2 seasons. I do agree with Allie and Brit. I do want them to make more changes. More Katang, please.
Yes.
I would like more, since we kind of rushed things a little bit, we've borrowed from book 2, I would hope for a little bit more downtime. Don't be afraid to be funny. Like, Avatar's a funny show. And I think we got a little bit of that in these later episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would definitely say B-, B. It could be better. It's also not horrific.
Yeah.
Isn't that the main takeaway? Like, we were worried
it
this
could
would
have been
be
worse.
Absolutely terrible,
Also,
and it really
I would
was
say
not as bad. As
I was nervous to watch the show. I don't know if I would have watched it if we weren't podcasting on it.
Same.
I would
I
have.
was scared, terrified. Like
I would have hated on it way more if not for your guys' discussions and feedback, because I think it's important to have nuanced discussion
and talk about. Sometimes you gotta talk it out, and sometimes you miss stuff.
Yeah, you need different perspectives to really put it into proper lens and way of thinking.
I know some people.
Sometimes your brother has to talk you off a cliff. You know.
Yeah, it's true. You know, sometimes that happens.
Storm around your living room.
I do hope that book 2, for me at least, is more like the middle of this season versus the end, because I didn't think it finished too strongly.
Okay, and Ben, your final thoughts here.
Yeah, I think the season overall for me is a B minus. I mean, which surprised me. I said it in the Discord, but I went in ready to hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm not being as nitpicky as I could be. And definitely some of the changes and decisions they made were ranged from I didn't care for it to it frustrated me, but overall I'm happy the show exists. Again, if for no other reason, it seems to be bringing more people into the fandom. I really like this cast. I like most of the effects. I like the bending. And hopefully now that they've had this season done, they know they're going to get to finish the story. They take some of that feedback and, you know, hopefully we just go bigger and better in seasons 2 and 3. So, you know, I am glad for its existence. It entertained me, which is more than I can say for the movie that shouldn't exist. So, yay, Netflix Avatar. Let's keep going.
Woo!
Okay, yay, let's keep going. Apparently.
I still don't think this should exist. I just want to clarify.
Yes, but ultimately, regardless, the season 2-3 renewal, we do think we've been having a discussion, driving more people to watch the original Avatar and Korra, and will drive more traffic to Avatar Studios. I think this ultimately helps Avatar Studios, the show existing. So I think we're in a good spot here.
And also, we've mentioned this before, but also more importantly, gives more attention to Asian and POC actors for roles like this.
Yes, a lot of Asian Indigenous actors, especially. We saw a lot of Indigenous actors in this finale. My final thoughts mostly been covered. Yeah, I think I will remember the visuals of this finale, maybe most of all among this show. I think a lot of this is going to be forgettable, but at least there's some nice images that'll probably flash in my mind.
As Sokka said in the Ember Island Players, the effects were decent.
Yeah,
they were
it is true.
decent.
It is true.
Yeah,
it is true. And we'll cover this more maybe in a future podcast. The 2 big pieces of advice I'm feeling at the moment as they're looking to season 2. Number 1, more character work. Whether that's more downtime, just need more character focus. Stop rushing to plot all the time. They're desperately missing that. Number 2, probably try to go for more original content in season 2, especially because you did a lot of the early season 2 stuff. I think that would work better than recreating a bunch of stuff. So hopefully they will go in a lot of these directions that we're talking about. And I do like the note from the before that it is just a season 1, and a lot of shows do improve a lot after season 1. So maybe we'll get that here as well. And I want to thank all of you guys for being on this podcast with me and Mel, in addition to everyone here. Thank you guys so much for doing this podcast series.
And thank you for having us and doing all the work.
It's
this was a lot of effort over the past 15 years with this thing.
Yeah, that too.
We started doing this when we were 12.
I know, and we're still doing
we have mortgages. I went to college.
Some of us don't own homes.
And now I feel even older.
Ben's like, I am dust.
It's wild. We're still here, and thank you all of you for listening. Look, we still could be here for more because I think we're enjoying this to some extent. So I want to hear from you guys, as I mentioned in the beginning. Podcast,
those legacy Star Wars fans that hang out.
Yeah, honestly,
yes.
I hope
maybe.
So.
Maybe.
Somehow.
Look, I did really enjoy doing this. I do think it was my fault, but I do think they were in very quick succession, and this has been a lot. But there's also my idea. So in the future, it won't really apply anyway. It's just these Netflix drops. It would be nice to see this type of show weekly, but
Netflix, do it weekly next time.
Well, we'll wait for Avatar Studios content. Hopefully that will be dropped
maybe Avatar
weekly.
Studios could drop a show weekly in the future.
Do not drop a whole season at once. That is not what we want.
Yeah, I don't think Paramount Plus does. To be honest, I don't
know. Are they
Paramount Plus
airing
originals?
Anything right now?
Mostly everyone except for I think the Halo show is on there. I think
They'll like
Halo's
maybe
on
do.
Paramount Plus.
They'll maybe do like 4 episodes to start off with, and then release weekly after that.
That's
that's the trend of basically everyone except for Netflix right now does like a few and to start and then weekly after.
That's still weird.
Well, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Knuckles series.
Oh yeah.
Series, okay.
Like Sonic the Hedgehog Knuckles series?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
There's a Knuckles series? I need to get back on my Sonic.
Yeah, it's based on the live action movies, which,
that's right.
Yeah, not related to this podcast, but I do recommend those movies. They're actually pretty fun.
I saw that it's rated for male nudity, and I was like, "What?"
Oh no, I don't want that. No wieners in my life. Please.
Yes.
Echidnas have 4 of them,
wieners.
so.
Oh, I don't want
Anyway,
I didn't need to know that.
They do.
Full frontal,
oh my
full
god.
the time.
Okay, why this discussion? Okay, but to wrap up what I was saying, I want to hear from you guys. If you liked listening to this, please let me know because it is like the idea would be we do like a weekly or twice a week Avatar and then Korra rewatch. Like that would be a big effort, but that would be very fun. We could look back on the fandom. We could talk about the episodes. I think there's a lot there as a potential series, but I want to know if all of you listening are interested in it before I kind of make this big like investment in the show. So please write in podcast@overlyanimated.com, leave a comment wherever you're at. If you want to show your support, definitely the absolute best way, join the Overly Animated Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. I'll say this now. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron podcast, Carolyn. And thanks to our patron executive producer, Steve, Michael, and Phoenician. So please reach out, leave a review. If you want more from the Spirit World content, more from us, you gotta let me know and let me know if you're interested. At the very least, we'll probably be reconvening at some point for a season wrap up. Maybe you want to combine season wrap up, initial season 2 speculation, maybe until we hear more about any season 2 news. Maybe that's one podcast, maybe it's 2, but I think that could be coming. At least a week or 2 off. So I'll say that after this. But that could be coming up. Last time we resurrected, do we want to end on something, as Ali is pointing out in the chat, which I'd completely forgotten about until it was randomly brought up last podcast. Celebrate, says Ali in the chat, the Zhao quote. That's not from this episode, but we could still.
What is from this episode that's good? I counter.
The Moon Slayer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zhao has a lot of amazing lines. I mean, that's what Zhao says. By the way, Zhao also says yes when he sees the quote. Yes. Yes. It's
yes.
Like plankton.
Let's roast this salmon, baby.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. What was his good line? Touching, not that I care.
That was what I was.
Not that I care.
Not that I care.
That's a very Sam.
Master of 3 Elements doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Gosh,
yeah, Master of 3.
So good.
So good. Well, okay, which of these do we want to end on? Let's pick.
It's too many.
Not that I care or celebrate.
Celebrate.
We can do celebrate.
Okay, that's how I end. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us leave comments. Let me know what you thought. 1, 2, 3. Celebrate!
Good time, come on.
One more time.